Hi everybody, my name is Dasia Bandy and I'm the National Military Youth of the Year for Boys and Girls Club of America. I'm currently 17 years old right now, but by the time you all see this video, I'll probably be 18. My birthday's on the 25th, and I'm currently a senior at Grasswood High School STEM Academy, but in the fall, you'll catch me at George Washington University in DC with a double major in international affairs and economics and a minor in political communications. I'm the oldest of four. My siblings would be so upset if I didn't show you guys a photo of us, so here's a picture. But okay, that is enough about me. I know why you all really tuned in. You all want to know the inside scoop about military life. So, I'm going to give it to you all. First, we're going to talk about myths. Number one, all military youth are brats or misbehaved. That is false. We are all not like that. Every military youth is not the same. I have my own personal testimony that I definitely did not get everything I wanted. My mom said no to me when I wanted to hang out at my friend's house. I didn't get McDonald's every time we passed by it. So even the small things, big things, I didn't get everything I wanted because within our house we were always taught to be grateful and humble. So it varies case by case. But generalizing that all military youth are brats is not true and is not a great myth that should be told. One thing that I can say isn't a myth: adjusting to change is difficult, and all military youth have to overcome that. And we work on that. We are resilient, we accept the challenge, and that's something we are able to do. But it is very easy to do it with a great support system from your family, friends, school, and the community around you can make a big difference, and having a smooth and much easier transition into that. But I do want to remind those that are watching, listening, tuning in, whatever it may be, if you are military connected, that you should be proud. You should be proud that you're military connected and proud of your guardian parent or whatever service member allows you to be military connected, because they did what 99.5% of the population does not do. And that is something to be proud of, that your service member has decided to protect you, your friends, your community, and our country 24/7. And that's something that I just can't take for granted. And so I'm appreciative of our entire military connected community and service members. So let's move on to myth number two. Myth number two: everyone is financially stable and has money from their GI Bill. False, 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 false. Everybody isn't necessarily financially stable. Sadly and unfortunately, we do have some living in poverty, possibly due to poor management of their own money. In addition to people like me, I have my own personal testament of saying I do not have any money for the GI Bill. My father, we just don't have enough money from the GI Bill to use for my academic careers. A lot of people don't know that it does expire and that the service member can use it as well, or the service member's spouse can use it, and so that makes an impact on whether or not you have enough money to use for your academic career, in addition to siblings using it. I'm one of four, so my youngest sister may not be able to use the GI Bill come time in the future, especially since I have little to none financial assistance from the GI Bill for me to use. That definitely leaves her with none. So that's my personal testament to clarify that myth that everyone does not have money from the GI Bill or is completely financially stable. Number three, third myth: youth that are military are weird. I'm not weird. That is completely false. I don't agree with that myth, because Everyone is unique in their own way. You can't call someone weird because they're military. Remember, you are different, you are unique, and you are amazing. You are amazing. So, it is okay. Military youth are awesome. I'm awesome. You're awesome. We're all awesome. For the fourth myth. So, the fourth myth says that every military youth moves 2 to 3 years. That's false. Not everyone moves, but we do experience the feel of loss. And I personally have never moved in my entire life, but there are those military youth that have moved 2 to 3 years every year, or they've moved only 2 times in their entire life, and they stayed here for 10 years and they moved somewhere else and stayed there for 3, and they moved somewhere else and they stayed there and graduated from there. Other people like me, I never moved, but I had those same effects because instead of me moving around the world was moving around me. And a result to that, it was difficult for me to find friends, have friends, keep friends, and build those lifelong relationships just because people were coming in and out. I've always had a different neighbor. Every 2 to 3 years, I had a different neighbor. So riding the school bus was difficult because those friends that I just made for that year that I was expecting and hoping to bring on to the next year, seeing them in the next class, were most definitely not going to be there. So I had to adjust and adapt to the new environment that not only was I seeing in my neighborhood with who I was playing with and hanging outside in the neighborhood, but on the bus as well. You know, there's different people coming in and out, and so I had that as a challenge, and I know other people have the same challenge by having a different environment, a different home. And although I didn't have a different home every time, what was surrounding my home was constantly changing and everlasting change. So all military youth don't move every 2 to 3 years, but have that constant burden of a change pretty often. So, we've talked about myths. We gave 4 different myths and realized that those myths aren't accurate. So now, we're going to talk about parent relations. Okay, I know that was kind of funny. Our relations with our parents can be a little difficult and challenging at times, of course, especially being a youth. But it's very challenging and different in a different way compared to our civilian family counterparts due to the fact that our service member is constantly coming in and out of the household. I know personally my dad came in the house every year or two due to, going back and forth with shore duty and deployments. So we had to learn how to adapt with the new head of the household in a sense. My father had rules that he wanted to implement, and my mother had different rules that she wanted to implement. And so learning and trying to go back and forth with who should I follow, what should I listen to, changed often and regularly, and it's a little challenging to build that strong relationship with someone that isn't there every night, every day, constantly with you, because they've had that commitment to serve our country and to serve our friends and families. It becomes tough to make that connection with them. And so we begin to be grateful and lucky to have technology. We're able to contact them via phone, computer, laptop, tablet, whatever it may be. But of course, each family is different, case by case, but we all have that same experience of a sense of being lost and constantly losing your member because they're not there every day and they're putting their life in danger, and you just don't know what can happen. And so that feeling will never go away, and it always feels there. And for others, it's a lot harder than some because they may be a single parent. That parent that you have there at home is now deployed, you can't see them, and then they come back and you have to readjust. And so that becomes a challenge within itself. But to remember that our military youth are having these parent difficulties, struggles, and achievements and accomplishments. You're building together, learning with one another. Our parent relations becomes very dynamic and interesting and different. And so it's just great to know that there are people that are willing to help us and assist us through those times when our parents are deployed. Now we're going to move to our next section, move to move. So I've titled this section Move to Move instead of relocating because, like I said earlier, not every military youth moves every 2 to 3 years or even moves at all, but we all can relate to that sense of moving because our environment is constantly changing and evolving, and it's an everlasting change of movement. Relocating can be difficult because of the constant mental change that kind of happens. You know, you are set with one school, one house, one set of friends, all in one location, and then that entire environment changes and gets replaced with another set of school friends, and then you say goodbye, and then you meet new people and you have to start the process all over again. So I completely understand military youth have to go through this constant repeat of trying to make friends, maintain friends, build long-term relationships, and it can be a challenge. And so sometimes it even becomes tiresome. You begin to feel as if you're always doing the same thing and you're always the new kid, and you just get tired of it. This, of course, is not the case for all of us, like I said earlier, but on the flip side, those that stay here feel that same thing, and Norfolk is the largest naval base in the world. And so that's where I'm at, that's where I live. So there's constantly new people all the time, every day. My community is never the same. Of course, I have that sense of a community, but it's different people, new leadership, new friends. Everything changes all the time. And so worrying about that on top of parents can become a challenge. And so I think the best way we kind of can support ourselves is to find something consistent that we can do all the time, to make us feel like we aren't moving all the time. And so that's where family and friends become a big part, especially technology. Technology is a huge plus that we have now in our day and age to stay connected with people and to do things like this, what we're doing right now. So what can you do to help military youth like myself to be resilient and to bounce back from situations like relocating and making new friends? Well, let's find out. This is my favorite part of the episode for you all today is how can you help military youth like myself become better, do better, and feel better? So the first thing you can do is be genuine. You genuinely want to help us, genuinely want to know how we are feeling, and you may not know all of the signs of how we're feeling or what we're doing, but reaching out and continuously checking in on us makes a big difference. And so once you're genuine, that's when we get to number 2, relatability. I know some people don't come from a military background, so it may be hard to kind of put your feet in the same shoes as a military youth, but here are some tips on how you can do that. 1, think of a time where you lost a friend. Think of that time where whether you all were upset with each other or just a time where you felt alone because you didn't have that person that you're used to telling all your secrets to, funny stuff, just that close friend, that close person. Think of a time where you didn't have them for a while. Or a time where you worried about your parents. It was late at night and they didn't come home, or just any point in time when you were worried about a parent, or where you were emotionally unstable. And when I say emotionally unstable, it could have just been how you were feeling, like failing a test. Just emotion and being emotional helps you to be able to relate to military youth like myself. Now that brings me to number 3, coping tips. It is always good to share with military youth that you come across, or youth in general, good coping skills to use within life. And so my biggest one out of all of them, is to get good sleep. One last thing that people might find funny, when I first thought about it, I was like, this can't possibly help me win anything. But advise people to clean your house. I know this sounds funny, but you can make cleaning your house fun and exciting. put on some music, find a dance you can do, and when you get to scrubbing and wiping and sweeping, you'll just forget about all the things that you have to do, and it's so relaxing, it's so helpful, it eases your mind, and you're just having fun and cleaning, and you just can't do anything wrong. And I know also for some people, pets is a great coping tip. I'm not a pet lover, but I know a lot of people are. And so just cuddling with your pet, whether it's a dog, a cat, a ferret, a snake, a turtle, I don't know. I've only had a pet goldfish and people don't count it as a pet. So whatever's your pet to you, cuddle with it, hug it, touch it, talk to it, sing to it. It will all help you cope through whatever you're dealing with and what you're going with. And lastly, do what I'm doing right now. Spend time with nature. Smell the trees. Get a fresh piece of air. I don't even know if that's what you say. Get a breath of fresh air. Or just do something related to nature. You don't have to go on a hike or go hunting. Just sit outside and listen to the birds chirp and just relax. Read a book. After you provide your coping tips to anyone that you need to, remember to tell your youth and to remind them that they are resilient and are capable of any challenge that comes their way, and they're able to bounce back because we are strong and they are strong. And then lastly, one great tip for all of you guys to use for military youth is finding stability strategies. So I know that may sound weird, but when I say stability strategies, just ways to help youth find something that's constant within their life, since we're constantly moving in a fast, rapid environment, whether it's moving around us or we're moving to a different environment. Finding something that's gonna stay the same can be very helpful. So I want to share some ideas with you guys. One, writing a journal. Pick a time, a date, a day, anything, and always write in your journal. So for me, every Wednesday I write in my journal how my week was, what I did, something exciting, because that's something that's not going to change regardless if I move, my neighbor moves, or if I end up having new friends. My journal will always be the same, and I'll always have time on a Wednesday night to write in it. Number two, pictures. Pictures is always good. Taking a selfie for yourself, taking a picture of your sibling, your friends, families. Pictures are very helpful to find a way to keep something constant. Another thing, video chats. So when you find that person that you feel like you can make a connection with to start something stable, to find something consistent, video chat that person, whether it's on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Video chats always come in handy because you feel that personal connection even though you're far away, because you do it at the same time, same day, all the time. And lastly, what helps me so much that I cannot go on without giving some note and some kudos to military youth centers. Military youth centers nationwide, worldwide, are BGCA affiliated. BGCA stands for Boys and Girls Club of America, and it provides us with that sense of comfort and stability because they follow the same guidelines and rules, and the staff there are just wonderful, like hands down amazing. Whether or not the center you go to changes or moves, or the staff change and the staff grow, what you do at that center does not have to change. And on top of that, what time you go, when you go, and what day you go always becomes very helpful, because like I said again, Wednesdays are my days of consistency. I always go to my center on a Wednesday to talk to someone, to relax, to watch TV, whatever it is, but just to know regardless if something changes in my life, my youth center will always be there for me on a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new or was able to refresh on some new material. So all in all, I hope you all stay safe. Practice all the precautions that you're doing within your states, and we're in this together. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in.